I also think this is the best mustache form I've ever had. I was looking at it in the elevator.
Yeah.
I thought that's...
It's less wispy than when you first grew it.
It's very proper.
So I am joined by Mitchell Hooper, 2024 Strongest Man on Earth, and we are in Birmingham for the Giants Live World Open and the Log Lifting Championships.
Challenge.
Log Lift Challenge, is it?
Well, because Z has the Log Lift World Championship.
Oh, okay.
So they can't call it that anymore.
Begs Adrenus's pardon, I had no idea. But do you have your...
Do you wonder how much these trademarks cost that are being thrown around in the strength world? I would imagine someone paid $5 to call it that.
Are they even trademarked?
Yeah, I don't know. I have
More
no
of
idea.
hey, you can't call it that.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Probably the latter.
But anywho, no matter what it's called, 230 kilos is the current world record held by Ian Bibby. Mm-hmm. Are you thinking about that world record, Mitch, or are you just thinking of the whole show?
I'm thinking of how cool it would be to see Ian Bibby break the record again.
Yeah.
That's where my thoughts begin and end with the actual world record weight. That being said, I don't think I'm that far off, but a jump from, say, 220 to 231, whatever it is, it's a big jump. So I might be ready for it next year, but certainly not this year.
Do you think you'll ever focus on individual records like that or the deadlift? I know, you had the deadlift in your sights 2 years ago, but competitions have taken over, haven't they?
I didn't. I did because that was my in to be able to get into the strongman world. And politically, you got to do your job if you want to get there fast. So that's what that was more than anything. The numbers made sense though. I wasn't lying. I thought that I could, but there just really seems to be no return. You know, I have a world record with the axle, one that is established and I'm proud of. I actually don't really, I need to find my new larger purpose in terms of competition results. Of course, there's the podium streak. Of course, there's the hate losing. There's the pride in turning up in great shape at every show. I would be too embarrassed to turn up to a show that I didn't think I was in shape to win at this point in my career. Not in any way saying that everyone has to turn up that way.
Is it because of the expectation now? Well,
I just think I'm capable of that. So if I'm turning up doing stuff lower than what I'm capable of, that's what I would be embarrassed about. So yeah, I'm in good shape. In good shape for the log. I'm stronger than I thought I was. I hit 213 in training. That's a PB. The log that I use is a total pain in the ass compared to the one we use here. So I expect 210 to go up without too much concern. But the day of the show brings something different always.
Of course. And what other events do we have? So we have the axle deadlift. Do we know if it's the massive tires or if it's like the
I believe it's the big
wheels.
Balls.
Oh, the balls,
the 350 set.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Which is a slightly lighter set, isn't it?
Yeah, slightly lighter, slightly easier.
Yeah.
I was, of course, tied the world record on the heavier set at 8. Of course, it means I'd be capable of more than 8 on this setup. But between Patty Haynes and Evan Singleton, we're going to find out who sets the number to beat, and then I'll just aim to beat that. I would say in this lineup, I'd be the favorite for deadlift for reps in a heavyweight, so I'll definitely be looking to win this one. But the sandbag toss comes before it, and I think all things being equal, I'm one of the favorites in that as well. But in sandbag toss, often all things aren't equal.
Well, no, because Maxime is here, and he's an excellent tosser, but he was one of the first, in fact, he was the first out, the strongest man on earth. So goes to show anything can happen.
Yeah, the thing I rely on, though, the thing I always go back to if I'm ever having a moment is there are many versions of other people, but I've only ever shown one version of myself. There's not really a Mitch Hooper has a bad day, or at least in the past 20 international shows, there hasn't been one of those days.
Yeah. And then we've got a new event at Giants Live this year, the arm over arm truck pull. Are you looking forward to that?
I am. Yeah, it'll be, I think, a very different truck pull to Strongest Man on Earth. I hope. That was,
I don't think it's going to be that heavy.
That was traumatizing. But it gave me a lot of confidence because since they had the load cell and you saw peak force, I had a higher peak force than anyone. I was about 8% higher than Thor, and then there was a drop off after him. So I know for a fact I'll be able to get this truck moving faster than anyone else at the start. Mm-hmm. But my technique and actually getting my arm over arm is the bit that needs some work, and I have been working on that. But there's only one time that it counts. So I think if I get my hands right, the ball's in my court to win that event.
And then we're finishing on the power stairs instead of Atlas stones. Do you prefer that?
No,
No?
I don't think so. I think it's all the same to me.
Okay.
Especially in a lineup without Tom. I
Yeah.
don't think there'd be anyone here who you just say that's an automatic win on
No.
the stones.
Very good. Power stairs are very good for Ivers. It's his
Very good
best
for Ivers.
event.
Very good for Evan.
Yes. I imagine Luke Richardson's good too.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
We probably should have spoken about Luke Richardson on the deadlift. I know he's coming back from injury, but
yeah,
he's a very strong deadlifter.
Log press as well. He pressed the 190 log like it was nothing. I almost don't want to put pressure on Luke.
I know.
Talking about him.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say is there's no one who deserves it more than him if things go really well for him tomorrow. He's battled back so many times, and I couldn't imagine the mental fortitude that it's taken him to be able to do that.
Such a young man still as well.
Yeah, like him and I have similar physical capabilities, I believe, and we've just been on total ends of the spectrum in terms of luck associated with that capability. So he deserves to win a World's Strongest Man. He deserves to win really whatever show you put out there. So I think we're all just hoping Luke stays in one piece.
Yes.
I think we're all hoping Luke hits the podium and earns a spot to World's Strongest Man, and he can focus on that for next year.
Absolutely. So do you think Bibby will break the world record this weekend?
I don't know. I haven't even seen him. All anyone is going off of is seeing one video of him pressing 209 for 4 like it's nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means for Bibby. I don't know. I just know that he is an anomaly, that if he comes to break a record, more often than not, he does it. And I'll just be happy to take in whatever happens.
And what about the overall competition? Do you have any predictions you want to share? Who do you think, besides yourself, could do really well?
Yeah, well, I think I think I will do very well. I think these are great events for Evan for the most part. Mm-hmm. I think analyzing if me and Evan were just straight head to head, I would be favored on max log. I would be favored on sandbag toss. I would be favored on deadlift. I think arm over arm is a bit of a toss-up, and then he would be favored on the power stairs.
Okay.
So some of those are just on the margins, though. I think I've said this before. I think I could lose the show by a small margin. I think I could win the show by a large margin, but stuff happens. I'll never forget being 7th after the first day at the Rogue Invitational in 2022. So stuff happens to everyone, yeah, I suppose we'll see. But other people good at the power stairs. Whole competition. Other people for the whole competition. Luke Richardson, like if he is who he can be, he should be right up there. Andre Foitu is just so sneaky, and I think it's because he's quiet. Like the quiet guys, you just don't really think of him that much. But if you think of these events, you're sort of like, where is he dropping a lot of points?
We haven't seen him do an arm over arm, so potentially, but I think the fact that there's no stones here is good for him.
Absolutely, yeah, and maybe arm over arm's his best event. I have no idea. So I think it's good for him. I think if we get good max, it's a great set of events for him.
Yeah.
Especially if he gets a single on the deadlift, just say it salvages something. I think that would be good.
Thomas Evans?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Tom to put it all together. I think he's got all of the traits, but he just seems to be marginally short on a variety of things that cause him to fall off. Yeah. Would not be surprised to see Tom in 3rd. Would not be surprised to see Tom in 6th.
Yeah. Paddy could be a sneaky one. Not a great start with the log, but he's got some really good events. I think it's just going to be interesting to see how good they are for him against the likes of you, Evan, etc.
Yeah, I think for me this competition is in terms of competitors, Evan and I would, to me, all things being equal on paper, would sort of be in one tier. And then you've got the Thomas Evans, the Luke Richardson, the Maxime Boudreau's, the Patty Haynes, the Andre Foitu of like, who are we going to see? What version of these people are we going to get? And if Patty turns up the best version of himself, it's, say he just gets a point on the board with the log press. He could easily come 2nd in the deadlift. He could do very well in the arm over arm. He's a taller guy and his grip's amazing, so I could see that going well. Again, power stairs. If you're a good deadlifter and your grip's good, your power stairs should be pretty good. There's not a whole lot where you go like, oh, Patty's gonna drop points. I think in this lineup though, with me and Evan here, it'd be wishful thinking for someone like a Max or like a Patty, yeah. Or like a Patty to pick up that many points on 4 events. But if I were him, I'd certainly be looking at a realistic chance at podium.
you.